Good afternoon. Market news now. Shares in Asia declined as oil prices surged, with the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war continuing to weigh on investor sentiment globally. The Hang Seng Index in Hong Kong led losses, regionally dropping more than 4% at one point before seeing a slight recovery. In Japan, the Nikkei also saw heavy losses as it tumbled 2.9%. Palladium surged past an all-time high on mounting concerns that exports from top producer Russia could be disrupted by sanctions. The metal, mostly used in devices that curb pollution from gasoline cars, extended this year's gain to 76%. Meanwhile, the U.S. is exploring a bill that would ban the imports of Russian oil and energy products, a move that would add to economic pressure as more companies pull out of the country in response to Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. To talk to us about the latest market dynamics and how they could impact the broader market, we are joined by Bright Khumalo from Vestec Asset Management. Bright, thank you so much for your time. You're having a look at the markets right now. Resources seem to be having a good day, but how's the broader market doing?
Yeah, look, resources seem to be not only having a good day or a good week or a good month or, a good year, but they've had a great 5 years if, you want to, look back as far as that. But today, the all share is down about 1.36%. Like you said, resources on average, the resources 10 index is up 5.6%, while industrials is down by the same, and financials is down even more, down 7.2% there. Overall, if you're not in resources, your portfolio is mostly red on the local front today.
Speaking of the local front, locally we had... Sorry to interrupt you there. I wanted to mention that locally on SENS, we had the Foschini Group announcing that it's going to be buying Tapestry, which owns the likes of Choreographed, Volps and Dial-A-Bed. Interestingly, that share price is down about 5%. What was your initial thoughts when you saw this particular announcement about the acquisition?
Yes, I mean, Tapestry is an interesting company, and it sort of fits in to that Foschini Group, portfolio companies, if you want to call them that, or brands, because there's a lot of vertical integration that could happen there. I mean, if you look at the factories that, make up, the furniture, textiles, mattresses and all of that, they're going to save a lot of cost on that front. But their distribution network in general is going to increase because Tapestry had their own distribution network, which they could add to, the Foschini Group's own one. So the deal at face value at least makes a lot of sense. Don't ask me about price because I don't know. This was a privately, owned company by actors, so I don't know if the price is right.
All right, that's fine. Let's talk about what is generally happening in the broader market. I mean, the one thing that I have seemed to have noticed is a sort of vicious cycle where the rates market seems to be chasing the commodity markets in terms of what's happening there. How do you approach it as an investor, or as somebody who is paying attention to what's going on there?
Yeah, look, the best investment as an investor is basically an investment that you can sleep well, even if it goes down, you can still sleep well at night. You don't want to, take a mantra or investment approach that you won't be able to stick with in the long term, right? So if your investment philosophy currently is not doing so well, but you're sleeping well at night, then it's fine. You could just add based on that. Don't stop contributing to, say, your RA, for example, because markets are down a lot, because this is where the benefit of, averaging in works to your favor, because you're getting more shares at cheaper prices. And you shouldn't, do something that's a little bit too smart to try counter what's happening currently. Whereas, you can control your own emotions and obviously what you do at the markets. But I'd say just sit in your hands mostly and do nothing.
Speaking of, I suppose, trying to see what's going to happen, what do you think would provide some kind of relief to commodity markets right now, at least maybe in the short to medium term? What would need to happen?
Look, maybe not have a war, for example, in the Ukraine and Russia, and maybe no sanctions. Who knows? because it seemed to have worked before, right? But I mean, in the medium term, I don't know what's going to happen to energy prices. You look at oil, for example. I mean, there's no shortage of supply of oil. But the oil price seems to be going up and up. I mean, oil is very easy to distribute, if from point A to point B. And if you're not getting oil from Russia, the Americans are going to start drilling, and you're going to get more oil coming out of that side. And OPEC hasn't complained about supply constraints. So oil price being up so much is actually very surprising, as an investor. But obviously, you can see that there's a lot of emotions involved in that process, and obviously taking those companies that operate in the oil market with them up, which is a good thing, I guess, if you're an investor in that space, but bad for consumers and producers, that need oil as an input, whether to transport their products or whether to produce whatever widgets they produce. It's not good for those guys.
Before I let you go, one key event that you're paying attention to?
One key event, I think we're all watching the war, right? But I think we're just, watching the last bit of earnings in the US come through and seeing where opportunities are in terms of where to put fresh capital into.
All right, Bright, let's leave it there. Thank you so much for your time. That is Bright Kamala from Vestec Asset Management.